What's up, guys? John Bird III here. We're back again for another video. And in today's video, we're going to talk about a rod series that is new to the market. But before we jump into that, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell. That way you can be notified whenever a new video drops and hits the channel. Now, in my last video that I posted on Veterans Day, we're doing a giveaway. And again, we're giving the American Hero Tier 1 bait cash reel away. So in order to be entered into this giveaway, you got to go watch that video and figure out what to do in order to be entered in that giveaway. We will be doing, we'll be announcing the winner of that video next week in next week's video. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But without further ado, we're going to talk about a brand new rod series that has just hit the market. And you know what series that is? The all-new KVD Elite rod series. So I had a conversation with some buddies today at work, and I'm gonna be honest, like it made sense when I started talking about it, and I'm just gonna give you the full gist of it. So in the new KVD rod series, I'm gonna talk about what they changed in this rod series to make them better than the previous rod series. I may have a model or two somewhere around here. I got one down there. But anyway, we'll talk about what they did differently in this rod series, what changes Kevin wanted to make in these rods and why. And most importantly, we're going to talk about what applications, what rods to look at and stuff like that. So one of the biggest changes, of course, cosmetically that you can see is it's a brighter red than the previous generation model. I don't want to pick that one rod up because it is still got a rod socket on it. But previous model was a darker maroon, I guess you could say. So it was a darker maroon. So they made it darker. So cosmetically, that's one change. I mean, that's simple. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you want your rods to look good. And that's what Kevin did. So this particular red, as I mentioned in the video, talking about the bait cast reel, this red more so goes closer with his logo. So they made it a little bit brighter red. They made the rod butts longer. So if you remember the previous generation, the rod butts were a lot shorter. And there were some, like, I've had a couple different models where I loved the rod. The rod would load great, especially the GC7. It was a 7.4. It's actually this rod right here, but this is the new model. It was the GC7 7.4 medium heavy extra fast. Great spinnerbait rod. I fire that spinnerbait out there, they lock up on it. I mean, it loads so well. I really enjoyed fishing with that rod. The only issue with that rod was the butt was too short. So Kevin liked shorter butts on his rods. I don't really understand. I never really understood why, but he liked the shorter butts on those rods. So after in this new series, they actually made the butt lengths on these rods a lot longer. So they're standard rod series or standard rod butts on these rods, which is great. So now you don't feel like, because at times I would feel like I was about to, with the longer rod, like the 7.4, it felt like with a heavier bait on it felt like I was going to throw the rod in the water, like just with the shorter butt. So now I have some more standard rod butt, so it feels fine, feels normal. Biggest thing, so this rod is an IM8 blank, but the biggest thing here is they added focus technology into this rod blank. So what is that? So focus technology is a resin wrapping deal that they do with these rods. So it increased the tip strength of the rods by 75%, but it's not just the tip. The resin goes all the way down and down the full construction of the blank. So it basically makes the rod more durable. So where is that technology also in the rest of the Lew's portfolio? Elite series rods. That's the highest end rod series in the Lew's family, $400. It has focus technology. Team Lew's Signature Series rods, focus technology. Y'all know I'm a Signature Series rods fan. Like, I love that series. That's my favorite series in the whole entire Lew's portfolio. If I had to point anybody to a rod series, no budget, it would be the Elite series. Because they're, at one point they were $179, $189, but now they're a little over $200, like $209, $210, something like that. So $200, $210, somewhere in that price range. But love the Signature series. Just love those rods. But here, with this rod right here. So I did a video earlier this year, said the best $100 rod on the market was the TP2 rods because they're priced at 109. But after this is where I had a conversation with my buddies at work today. I was like, after thinking about it, I think this may be the best rod. Let's say in that 130 range. So these rods retail at 129.99, and he has a bunch of different models. So if you ever use the Kevin's KVD series rods, do you see these weird codes on there? So GC6, GC2, CC2, GS5. Like, what does that mean? So GC7 stands for graphite casting, and the model is number 7 model, right? So if anybody, Kevin did a specific numbering system. So if anybody asks what rod was he using for a specific technique, he could say, go get my GC2, GC5, CC4, GS2. Like, he can point that out. So GC stands for graphite casting. CC stands for composite casting. So he has cranking models that are composite rods, because y'all know Kevin likes to crank on a composite rod. So he has 4 cranking models and the composite models, and those are the CC models. So if you want a composite crank rod, there are the CC models. And then the GS stands for graphite spinning. So he technically has 3 different types of rods within the whole KVD family, and they're $129.99. So you have all your regular graphite casting models. You have your composite models for your cranking, and then you got your graphite spinning models for all your spinning and finesse applications. So that is how he numbers and he rates his rods, so that he can tell you specifically, oh, go get my GC7. That's a great rod for spinner baits, dock skipping, stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. And they're all of the rods are technique specific. So you're going to get a technique specific rod. On top of that, that has an increased blank and tip strength with the focus technology. That's gonna be kind of hard to beat. I love my TP2s. The TP2s are great. They're really great rods. They balance well. They feel great in hand. They're lightweight. But after thinking about it, I'm like, I love the Signature series a lot. I love certain models in the Elite series, like the 7.3 medium heavy, the 7.4 heavy. Love that rod. Great flipping stick. And the 7-foot medium fast spinning rod. Love that. But I'm like, at 129, so if I pay an extra $20, I can get a rod. Now, the TP2 rods actually have an HM45 blank, so it has a slightly better blank for sensitivity purposes. But with the added extra strength for the focus technology with the KVD rods, it actually gives it a little bit of an edge, right? Because let's just be honest, we're all, as anglers, we're real rough on our stuff. So I don't think you can go wrong with either one. But I'm just really like, I thought about it, and then they upgraded the guys from before. So I mean, again, like, I think when you're looking into technique specific rods, durable rods, balance well, I don't think you can go wrong with TP2s or KVDs. And this is not a full on comparison video. If y'all would like to see a comparison video, make sure y'all leave a comment down below. But with the KVD rods, like, it's again, loses continually trickling down technology from their higher end stuff all the way down to their lower tier price point stuff. And so if you get a KVD Elite bait cash reel that has, and it comes with the Paramac RX braking system, and you pair that with the KVD Elite rods that have the focus technology, like, that's a killer combo. So KVD Elite rods, I mean the bait catcher, call it 180. These rods 130. So what? You out the door 310? Like, it's pretty slick. You know what I'm saying? So if you're looking for a great rod series, or you just want a good rod series, like, I like the KVD rods. Like, they're, now y'all know me, like, I get very in the weeds with stuff, right? And so even if a rod set is designed for a certain technique, I still would dive into there to find out what is, if that rod is really great for that technique, or if I like it for something better. So keep this in mind. This is something that you just need to know, regardless of whatever brand rods you buy. Doesn't matter if they're technique specific. Keep in mind, those are suggestions as to how the rod and what the rod was designed for, like what technique it was designed for. The thing about it though is, it doesn't necessarily mean that you only have to use that rod for that specific technique. So say for example, this rod right here It says, and I'm gonna give you the specs: 7.4, medium heavy, extra fast, lure weight rating. I don't get into a lot of lure weight ratings, but keep this in mind also. A lure weight rating. So this is 3/8 to an ounce. So every rod that has a lure weight rating, they're different. But I look at the max. So like this says 1 ounce. I wouldn't throw a bait over an ounce over this because at that point I feel like you're going to jeopardize breaking the rod because it's overpowering the tip of the rod. That's just that's how I look at it. But when you look at that I guess you want to call it that spectrum, 3/8 to an ounce, that rod has a sweet spot in there. So maybe you put a 1/2 ounce jig on here and you're like, this ain't the sweet spot. But you go up to a 3/4 and you're like, this is perfect. You got to find that sweet spot in that rod. So keep that in mind. But going back to what I was talking about, this rod right here is designed for spinner baits, swim jigs, big top water swim baits. So my experience with the old one, because it's over there in the corner in that big stack. Spinner baits, great. So I would say not up close, like up close and personal spinner bait, because when you're making a rod cast with a long rod, because this is a 7.4, when you're roll casting with a longer rod, and you're in close quarters, it's a little too much rod. You technically want a shorter rod in close quarters. But if you're offshore a little bit, let's say you're on the edge of a point and you're firing that spinner bait way up there on the shallow end of the point, and you're at the tip of the point where it's deeper at, and you're just slowly rolling it, just allowing them blades just to tick, and you're bringing it down that point. This rod will work great. Longer cast. If you're fishing a grass flat, you're firing out a swim jig. Great option there. Uh, Dragging, 7.4, you can drag a big worm with this. It's work great. Has good backbone, but you can tell, like, even with me just pressing on the floor, you can tell like this rod loads pretty deep into the blank. And so firing out a big worm, it'll be good for that. Football jigs, it'd be great for that. So anything, swim worm, great rod for a swim worm. Fire that swim worm out there, slowly, and you feel it ticking on the grass. You stop, rip, you kill the swimming action of it, and you just pull it over that grass, and they come and grab it, boom, set the hook, get them in the boat. Great option for that. So even though it says spinnerbait, swim jig, big top water, I wouldn't throw top water with this if I'm being honest. Like, it would have to be like a big top water, I guess that's what it says, but like a mega dog. But I would have to see what the lure weight rating of the mega dog is. Or whatever. Like around here, we could throw island little sticks or whatever, like vixens, all that stuff. So I would have to look at the lure weight rating, but I can see where it says bigger plugs like that, because again, the rod's going to load well. But again, this is going to be a great offshore rod. I've even considered grabbing this rod and using it for offshore techniques, but I got another rod that I like more. So that's what this rod would be good for. But again, just because a rod says this is what it was designed for doesn't necessarily mean that you only have to use that for those specific techniques here. Because you can use a rod. If this wasn't on here, guess what? If this rod didn't have that, you would find it. You'd be like, oh yeah, this would be a good rod for blase, whatever. That's what you're gonna use it for. So these are just general recommendations, and these are rods that Kevin likes to use. They're great. They're affordable rods. 120 for a good rod with a good resin technology that's in there, that is going to be not only durable and tough, but you're still going to have the sensitivity there. You can't beat it. In my opinion, I would definitely rate this really high as far as like a great bang for your buck rod out there. This and the TP2 series. I think you can go with both series and pick the models that you like. One thing I noticed about this specific rod series, which is cool, but I think it's a regionality thing. A lot of Kevin rods are extra fast. And that's a conversation that I actually want to have with Kevin about these particular rods. Why he likes the extra fast actions on that rod, on a lot of his rods. And I've noticed that. I think that's a regionality thing. I know a lot down south we typically use a lot of fast actions on stuff. And I think it's regional. That's my point. I think that's my take on it. I think it's more so a regional thing, but I definitely want to do a deep dive to get into his brain as to why an extra fast versus a fast action. One model that they had in here. So going into the updates with the rod series, they actually eliminated some models from the previous rod series going into this one. One model that I would have highly recommended, they don't no longer have it, was a 7.4 heavy, because y'all know a 7.4 heavy is my favorite length, power, and action for flipping. Y'all know I love that in the custom pros, the custom lights. I even had the old custom speed stick 7.4 heavy fast. Love that model, but they don't have that. But Kevin still offers a flipping stick. He has a 710 heavy. I want to say it's an extra fast. I can't remember. It might be fast, but I think it's extra fast. But he has flipping sticks, cranking models, bladed jig models, drop shot, shaky head, whatever. He even has a couple spinning models called I think they're called the small mouth special. So it's two different models. They're two different lengths and actions, but two small mouth special rods. But again, you can use them for anything. So these are just Kevin's recommendations on what they would be great for. And you see, it's not just one technique; it is a couple that you can definitely use these rods for. So definitely want to check them out. If your price point and your budget for a rod is no more than 150, I would definitely say check out uh the KVD Elite rod series. I mean, great rod series, great price point. Sometimes I'll be honest, like, and y'all have heard me say this. If it's a technique that you do a lot, that you love a lot, like I like flipping, I like hybrid hunter, catch fish on the hybrid hunter. I like bladed jigs. I like frogging. Like I like stuff like that. So especially on bottom dragging techniques, so like flipping and stuff, it's okay to spend a little bit more money on a rod. But this is what I will say to that. If you don't have to and you can get a great rod that meets, it'll save you some money, that is lightweight. Like when I say lightweight, I'm talking about light in hand. Balance. When I'm talking about balance, I'm talking about the rod doesn't feel like the tips just want to just fall to the floor. So it's not a tip heavy rod. So if the rod is balanced well, if it feels good in your hand, buy that rod. So in particular, this GC7, it's a great feeling rod. Definitely a rod that you definitely want to add to your arsenal for sure. And just go to the local tackle shops. These are showing up everywhere. They're not available on the Lose website, but they're available on Tackle Warehouse. They're available in your local retail stores. Man, support your local dealers. I will say that, man, if you can, and they have what you're looking for. Support your local dealers, man. Those local dealers are there to be able to provide you whatever it is that you need. Across the state of South Carolina, there are a couple different tackle shops I go to depending on where I'm at. Like in Columbia, where I go to Palmetto State Armor all the time. Love those guys there. Great guys. AJ, all the guys in there, great dudes. Even the guys that used to work there before that moved on to other roles in the fishing industry and stuff like that. Like, love that store. Palmetto State Armor, great option. JC's Outdoors. Love JC's Outdoors. Love the people that work there, the Veronis. Love them. JC's Outdoors. JC stands for Jesus Christ. Love that store. Got great food in there. Got great rods, great baits, great bait selection. Tailored to Lake Murray and stuff like that. And then when I'm in the low country and I go down and I'm going down to Santee, I go to Phantom. Love the guys out there, Matt and all the guys down there at Phantom. Always support your local dealers because at the end of the day, like even if they don't have something and you're looking for it, just be like, hey, is there a way that y'all can get some of these? And if enough of you and your fishing buddies are looking for those specific things and they don't have it, if y'all get enough guys, maybe they can get those in and maybe they'll start stocking them. But just build relationships with the guys at your local tackle shops. It's good for you to be able to know the people that works in those stores. They know you. Y'all talk shop, y'all talk fishing, and they know what you're looking for and stuff like that. And that's just how you build relationships because you never know where that may land you one day. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, these are showing up at your local tackle shops, tackle warehouse. I mean, of course, tackle warehouse has everything. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason it's out of stock is because it's just selling like that. So y'all know how it is. But anyway, go to your local tackle shops. Y'all can be able to pick up the new KVD Elite rods. Again, great price point. They feel good in hand. They're balanced. The sensitivity is great. And then on top of that, like I said, with the focus technology, I mean, it just adds that extra tip strength and strength down the entire blank. I mean, you just can't go wrong with that. So if you like more rod reviews like this, make sure you stay tuned. I actually have a brand new rod that I'm going to be using for hybrid hunters. I actually have two new hybrid hunter rods. One I'm going to talk about, let's say in December around Christmas time. We're going to talk about that one. But this one here, I got a new rod I'm going to talk about. Stay tuned for the next video. One of the next videos. It's going to talk about my new hybrid hunter junior rod. Um, it goes against what Todd says, but I have my reasoning for why I chose this particular rod, and we'll go down that wormhole whenever that video comes. But I'm JB3. I got to get back to living a dream. I'll catch you later.